you're saying is that when you begin to meditate and go inward, you then see you then begin to recognize the essence of that higher source within all of creation. Is that what you're saying?
Well, all of creation is when you have become one with it. As you said, your development also in stages. What is that development entailed in? It's the awakening in series of your inner faculties. It cannot be achieved as a one-step journey. Okay? So this is awakening internally in the stages of your own gifts and virtues that enable you to perceive it. So until you become one with it, I'm not sure you can say that you perceive all, because when you become all in all, then you become part of the all. We are part of the all, but to say it intellectually is not the same as perceiving it internally, because this is the phenomenal visible world. Then you have to move into the invisible world that is particulate, and then beyond that, the primordial. So this is also a step-by-step stages. We cannot all at once perceive everything until this light shines on you and you are elevated in your consciousness to become one with it, and you become part all in all, then you perceive it. But your awakenings are in the stages. And the Secret Doctrine on page 289 lists all of the virtues that we have. In doing this research, the student came to the conclusion that what differentiates human beings from the higher animals is these virtues, that they are active in us and not the animal kingdom. And those virtues are listed, and one by one, as you activate them, they enable you to perceive more. But the spirituality is through devotion to the higher self. What does Krishna say? Even though we say Krishna, it's not a thing outside there. Krishna is your higher light in your heart. We just give it a name and personify it, just as all the other religions do. It's okay to personify it, but if you understand that it's just a personification of a power, a spiritual power that is, and that you internally perceive that in yourself. That is the key, because we can say it, we can understand it, but this is the first route. It is recommended that we study philosophy. Why? Whose philosophy is it? Here's the messengers, and all of the wisdom of the ages through these wise men is supporting it, right? It is a complete system, what is given out. It does not require anything else. A lot of people make the mistake that we can go all over the place and read whatever we like. This student does it too. But at the end, this student comes back to the philosophy given out. It is complete. It enables one to synthesize, like the synthesis we were talking about. It enables one to synthesize a complete philosophy of the universe, of humanity, of the powers of nature, and the powers of man himself. And when you, in your mind, correlate the powers in you with that of the cosmos, and understand that it is united, it flows, it's continuous. There's no brokenness about it. It's a circle, and all of us are in that circle. And we're part of everything in it, as everything in that circle is a part of us. There is no disconnection anywhere. It's only in the human mind. The connection is there. So, if we study the philosophy, where does it take us? To the wise men. We cannot start with the wise men. We have to start with their philosophy. philosophy takes us to them. There comes a time when, regardless of how much we study and absorb, we need guidance, because there are errors that we make. Who's protecting us? Right? So that chelaship will eventually come. It comes. Whether it's an external guru or the internal guru, we are going to become students of this wisdom religion at some time or another. And if we undertake it willingly, learn it and promulgate it, we're doing humanity a tremendous service, because the lie in the heart that we heard just this one time has to be removed. It's a lie. We are immortal. I quoted at the beginning of today that the secret doctrine says God did not create death. Men did. And when men remove that illusion, so he shall again become the Promethean Titan he was at the beginning of the evolutionary process, but with all of the spiritual knowledge and experience added to it. So we have tremendous potential. So this philosophy opens it up, and if some other philosophy does that to you, for you, go for it. No problem. John, you had a question?
Yeah, why did HPB have Jesus as an initiate and judge as an adept? Isn't that sort of a theosophical contradiction?
You wanted to put a contradiction into the statements. Well, this student is studying the philosophy. Perhaps when you become part of that fraternity, what those terms really mean become clear to you. Somewhere in the literature was mentioned that an initiate to us perhaps looks like a god, considering their knowledge and what they have achieved in life. This student knows this teacher who had come and lived 30 years in training and brought all this out. Well, who on earth can do that? What kind of power is that within us that when it is unleashed, it does make a god out of us? So thinking that way, as you internally go through these stages, remember that the Diane Chohans are our spiritual progenitors, okay? The color spectrum. Behind that stands the white logoid light, which in their totality they constitute. What's behind it? The all in all, and what's behind it? The absolute. We're connected all the way to the absolute, because everything is synthesized in space. There's no broken line about it. It's just that my brain has difficulty understanding it. My brain. So as the purity of the brain and its capacity enlarges, and as we transcend the levels of consciousness, our knowledge also expands, because in the other realms we are taught by the wise men. Whether we know it or not, who are these wise men? They're part of us as we are part of them. They want us to succeed. Humanity needs these foot soldiers everywhere. Everywhere this promulgation is needed. The truth, though, not fudged theosophy, not pseudo-theosophy, but what the masters gave out in its originality, because it constitutes a whole without unbrokenness, and it leads us to them. So, your question earlier, if we are going to devote ourselves to something, what would that be? A cause would be perhaps more appropriate. cause of humanity. Well, thank you.